Greetings gamers, ex-gamers and friends and family of gamers. It's day 28, which means I've completed 27 full days of non-gaming without any temptation to game and nothing that can really be considered withdrawal symptoms, although if they were withdrawal symptoms they were so very mild that I wasn't sure if they even counted as withdrawal symptoms. I've been relaxed and haven't been irritable with anyone and slept well yesterday, and yesterday morning woke refreshed. Although I didn't do so well in the evening, but that's got nothing to do with the gaming, it has more to do with the weight loss. Now with regards to the restricted calorie challenge, I'm finding that a bit more of a struggle. I'm still only eating 2 meals a day, although I did fall off the no snacking wagon last night, but thankfully I only snacked on an apple just before going to bed. Even though it was only an apple, I couldn't seem to control myself. As soon as my family went to bed, I was devouring it like some savage animal, core and all. Afterwards, instead of feeling guilty like an addict coming out of the indulgence stage, I was still hungry and tossed and turned in my bed until really late, fantasizing about burgers, chips, pizza, ice cream and chocolate gâteau. Thankfully, fantasizing about food doesn't seem to put weight on, as evidenced by the results this morning. I'm down to 124.7 kilograms, which is a weight loss of 2.7 kilograms, give or take 2 kilograms. However, given the intensity of the cravings, I honestly don't know if I won't crack sometime soon. I'm not feeling nearly as confident with my ability to keep to my restricted calorie challenge as my non-gaming challenge. I'm not even following a strict diet. I can eat anything I want. I'm just restricting myself to 2 meals and half the portion size of what I would normally eat, and I'm finding even that simple challenge almost unbearable. In this video I want to address the issue that I've been sitting on the fence about all month, and that is, should compulsive video gaming be considered an addiction? In a study by Saeed Salman Alavi et al. Entitled Behavioral Addiction versus Substance Addiction, Correspondence of Psychiatric and Psychological Views, behavioral addiction, such as internet addiction, is similar to drug addiction, except that in the former the individual is not addicted to a substance, but the behaviour or the feeling brought about by the relevant action. In addition, the physical signs of drug addiction are absent in behavioural addiction. Others have stated that behaviourally addicted individuals have certain symptoms that will undergo the same consequences brought about by addiction to alcohol and drugs, as well as other obsessive behaviours. So that means, well, aside from taking 2 whole sentences to reiterate the blatantly obvious, they have concluded that those who are addicted to things like video games or gambling or shopping or excessive exercise have overlapping symptoms, including withdrawal symptoms, to those who are addicted to drugs. Now, I had hoped that by the time I'd got this far in my research on gaming addiction, I would have a clearer understanding as to whether gaming addiction is real or not. Sadly, I'm no closer to an opinion on that matter than I was nearly a month ago when I started doing these videos, which is not surprising since the experts can't even agree on whether or not this is a real thing. Despite the many similarities between video game addiction and other forms of addiction such as internet addicts, gambling addicts, shopaholics and exercise addicts, I can't shake in the back of my mind the meta-study by Ferguson et al., which concluded that the evidence suggests that video game addiction arises out of other mental health problems rather than causing them. I think this is a line drawn in the sand by some academics who argue that while substance abuse can turn into an addiction, behavioural obsessions are not strictly speaking addictions. They feel that the withdrawal symptoms can be explained as other mental health problems and argue that the compulsive behaviours are a means by which the sufferer self-medicates their own symptoms. When the patient stops self-medicating, the full force of the untreated underlying problem is misdiagnosed as a withdrawal symptom. This complicated chicken and egg problem seems to be at the heart of the debate as to whether or not to include things like gambling, video gaming, shopping and exercise as addictions. But can't we say the same for substance abuse? A person might be suffering from undiagnosed depression and turns to alcohol or tobacco or prescription drugs or illegal narcotics as a way of self-medicating the undiagnosed symptoms of depression and or social anxiety. It can be argued that those substances alter brain chemistry in a way such that there are unpleasant consequences for withdrawal, but we have already seen in previous videos that the consequences for sudden withdrawal from excessive gaming can be equally as brutal. We have also seen that brain architecture in those with behavioural addictions can be eerily similar to those with substance addiction. Of course, this is complicated by the prevalence of comorbid substance addictions in those with behavioural addictions. I am of the opinion that for some people the mental health problems manifest first, and the addiction is a way of ameliorating or escaping from the unpleasant symptoms of those mental health problems such as depression or social anxiety. However, I can't discount the many accounts of people who claim their lives were going great before they developed a behavioural addiction and their life spiralled downhill from there. I'm therefore also of the opinion that for some people the addiction came first and the mental health issues arose as a consequence of the addiction. I also feel that for a third group, the other mental health problems and the addiction are unrelated except by a common cause. I also think that in all three cases the addiction and the comorbid mental health problems feed off each other in a negative way. In the first group of people, I would predict that treating the addiction will appear to exacerbate the other mental health problems, at least in the short term. In the second group of people, I would expect that treating the addiction might at least mildly alleviate the other mental health problems, but wouldn't exacerbate them. In the third group, I would predict that the only viable treatment option will be identifying and treating the common cause of the addiction and other mental health problems. Once the original cause is dealt with, then the addiction and other mental health problems can be addressed. In all this, I've not seen or heard anything that changed my mind, that focusing on the withdrawal symptoms or negative effects on a person's life only complicates what should be a relatively simple set of diagnostic criteria. An activity, whether it's substance or behaviour based, if repeated often enough, becomes a routine. A routine that is followed to the point where it is done almost automatically becomes a habit. A habit can be a good habit, like brushing teeth, or a bad habit, like smoking. A good habit benefits a person and can never be classified as an addiction. A bad habit causes harm to a person's life and becomes an addiction at the point where the subject can no longer quit on his or her own and needs external help. So in answer to the question, is video game addiction a real thing? I don't know, but I'm leaning in the direction that it probably is real, especially if we take my definition that an addiction is a bad habit that can't be broken without external help. In fact, a case can be made that an addiction can never be cured and an addict is either in recovery or relapse, but will never be able to have a healthy relationship with the source of the addiction. If you feel that you might have a problem with excessive gaming and are worried you might be developing an addiction, why not follow along or try out this simple test of going game free for a month? Remember, it can be any month and you don't have to start on the 1st. Why not post a comment and let me know how you're doing, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button. But as for me, hopefully soon to be slightly less big fat hairy 27 days and counting non-gamer, I'll look forward to seeing you in another video.